How could you be so selfish? What were you thinking? Don't you care about us? Why did you leave our planet in such a dire state? These are the words that keep me up at night, and I hope that my children, Ruben and Declan, who are now 4 years old, will never say to me in the future. Before I share about my story, let me give you a bit more about my background. My name is Robin Poh, and I come from a second-generation family business. I graduated from SMU here in Singapore and did double majors in marketing and law. When I first started working, I entered the world of finance and joined ABN AMRO Bank and then to UBS, the number one private bank in the world. In 2008, my dad discovered that he had a very serious heart valve condition and had to go through emergency operation. I promised him that I would leave banking and join him in the family business, and that peace of mind assured him that the family legacy would go on. He survived that operation, and we're very glad that he had many more good years with us. Unfortunately, in 2014, he succumbed to colon cancer and he passed at a young age of 66. I became a young CEO then, taking over the family business. Being the oldest child, I was more like the father figure in the family now. But let me tell you about our first generation family business. My dad started a manpower company where we supplied blue-collar workers to the oil and gas industry. This meant that welders, mechanics, crane operators, we would take care of their salaries, their training, their transportation, their accommodation, and send them to work offshore in oil rigs in a safe and controlled environment so they could earn a better living, they could provide for their families. And many of them came from small remote villages and moved to the city and had a better standard of living for their families. Here's a photo taken in the 90s. And this is taken on the heli deck of an oil rig. On the extreme right-hand side, you can see my late father with his arm around my younger brother, Roger. This is what it's like to be in the family business. We would go along to work sites, sometimes to an office, sometimes to a factory. But in our case, we actually went out to the heli deck of an oil rig. Imagine that. I think the first time I took a helicopter as a child was 5 or 6 years old. And not many people believed it. Even my teacher didn't believe me when I said I took a helicopter at a young age of 5 or 6 years old. Fast forward a few years, this is me and my dad again on a heli deck in one of the shipyards here in Singapore. It's funny how after 2 decades, some things don't change. We supplied manpower to the oil and gas industry. As you can see, sometimes it's in the hundreds, sometimes in the thousands. And it's really about uplifting people, giving them jobs, giving them a purpose, giving them a better way to provide for their families. It wasn't easy to handle with so many characters and egos and personalities, but my dad believed in the work that he did. And I learned those values through him as I worked with him over the last decade. But I decided to leave the family business and take some time off to do further studies. I applied for the number one business school in the world, INSEAD, and I never thought I would get in. But lo and behold, I managed to get in and took part in the business startup bootcamp. And I think with the help of my teammates and the support of professors, we won first prize in the startup bootcamp competition. The French actually have it very literal. They literally gave me a bottle of champagne and a boot. That's French humor for you. But that was a very strong validation on that I'm on the right path and I really wanted to use the family business to do something good. Here's an overview of our family business. On the extreme left-hand side, you can see our original family business dealing with manpower. And that's a picture of my uncle and my dad. And my uncle's the CEO of that business now. As you know, in 2017, I started a new vertical, which is actually RPRE, focusing on renewable energy. And that's the focus and the business that I'm handling now. We also have some non-operating business in the family business, and that's more on the family office side and the property side, and even a non-profit that we have called SG Obituaries. So let me tell you a bit more about RPRE. Indonesia has many electrical problems. It's an archipelago made of many thousands of islands. It has 250 million people, many of which do not have access to clean energy or energy at all. The floods are so severe in Indonesia that the capital city, Jakarta, is sinking by 10 cm a year. Imagine 10 cm in 10 years, that's 1 meter. Can you imagine going to East Coast nearby and then the water level has risen by 1 meter? It's shocking. And now they even have to relocate the capital city to another brand new place in Kalimantan. Climate change does not respect national borders. what happens in our neighboring countries, what happens in the other side of the world, what happens in the North Pole and the South Pole affects us here in Singapore as well. We are all humans of this planet, and we all need to protect this planet. In 2018, our Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong actually addressed the whole nation and talked about the risk of climate change. Literally, if we do not protect our planet, we will be in deep water. We need to defend our land, and we need to do so by dealing with climate change. Our business in RPRE is focusing on helping clients in the commercial industrial space switch from dirty fossil fuels that are pollutive, expensive, with lots of emissions, to clean energy, such as solar and batteries. We really want to make the planet a better place by focusing on the triple bottom line of people, planet, profit. Here's a picture of a palm oil plantation in Indonesia. And you can see the big black smoke coming out into the air. Because it's out of sight and out of mind, we don't realize the implication, but it's really killing our earth. In these kind of remote locations, it's not just a factory, but there are hundreds and maybe thousands of people living in these conditions as well. This is an aerial shot of one of the villages in these remote areas. And they don't just house the men that are working in the palm oil plantation. They also have women and children. They have mosques, they have schools, they have clinics, they have churches. And there's a whole community living in these dire conditions. Most of the power generation is done in like huts like this, using an old, not so well maintained diesel generator, not safe at all. This is the inside of that powerhouse. You can see a very old diesel generator being protected by a cardboard box, because when it rains, the water is going to drip and it might cause it to malfunction or even cause it to catch fire. The safety conditions are not ideal. Here's another picture outside a powerhouse, and you can see the electrical wires are hastily put together with just black electrical tape, not in a very safe manner. Even the old engine oil that needs to be disposed of properly is just stored in a barrel like that. And look at all the pollution on the ground and on the walls of this old powerhouse. But we want to do something about it, and we want to address the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. We don't claim to do them all, but the ones highlighted are the ones that we focus on. Why do we do this? We want to focus on the triple bottom line of people, planet, profit. We want to make every day Earth Day. So what do we do? Here's a beautiful picture of one of the eco resorts that we helped with recently. Previously, they were using diesel generators that was also smelly and pollutive and noisy and expensive. It really cost the eco resort a lot of money to run this diesel generator. Here's a picture of a beautiful solar field that we built. It has no noise pollution, no air pollution, there are no moving parts. Every day, free energy comes from the sun and it powers the whole resort. But we're not just powering the resort, we actually work with the villagers that live nearby as well. When we built the solar field, we engaged with the local villagers and gave them jobs, gave them skills, taught them how to actually build this solar field together with our supervisors who are wearing yellow. I think Indonesians are very patriotic and they really love their country. So many of them have said like, oh, this is the future and this is how they want to actually see their country developed. We're so glad to be able to engage the people as well and do something good. Here's an example closer to home. In the southern islands near Pulau Semakau, there's actually a fish farm called Barramundi Asia or Kubara. This is their floating fish farm, and previously they were using diesel generators to power their operations. We still need to have laptops and lights and machinery to do the work, even though it's a floating fish farm. This fish farm was off-grid. There was no way to connect to electrical grid because it's in the middle of the ocean, so it had to be powered by diesel generators. These generators, as usual, were expensive to maintain. You had to transport the fuel onto the floating fish farm. It was noisy and you couldn't really work in peace. And there were even fumes as well, and the workers were exposed to all these fumes. So we installed solar panels and batteries and they didn't have to use diesel generators anymore. Isn't this a beautiful sight? Kudos to them for really making sustainable fishing here in Singapore. The success of that project allowed us to dream. And knowing that we could actually power a barge to use solar and batteries, we aim for something bigger. Here's a picture of the world's first and only floating hospital barge in Indonesia. It's done by an amazing NGO called Dr. Share, and they've been doing great medical humanitarian work for the last 10 years. When they go out to remote areas to do medical support, they're still powered by diesel generators as well, fossil fuels. And they're limited by the amount of fuel they can carry. There's only so much that tank can fill. So our plan is to put solar and batteries onto the roof, just like we did for the fish farm, so that this hospital can actually go out to the remote areas and help hundreds and thousands of people in the remote communities. We're very excited about this project, and we hope to complete it very soon. Over the years, we've been blessed to actually have many awards and recognition for the work that we've done, especially in the space of ESG, environment, social, and governance. I think on the environmental side, it's pretty obvious. We're producing clean energy, we're helping people get off fossil fuels. But on the social side, we also have an internal and external social impact. In our company, we have those who are hearing impaired, those who are using a wheelchair, and they contribute like any other team member to the success of our company. In our Jakarta office, we even work with Afghanistan refugees as well. Raza helps us with our 3D modeling, SketchUp, AutoCAD, and they help do the drawings for us in our work. We really want to use our family business as a force for good. And one of the certifications that we're most proud of is actually to be a certified B Corp. B Corporations are companies that focus on the social and environmental impact. And we're very proud to have been awarded the top 5% globally for best for the world for workers as well as environment. Speaking about B Corp, here's an event that took place in Geneva in 2017. We had the European founder of B Corp, Marcello Palazzi, who was there to teach us about B Corp and what it meant to be a B Corp and the high standards that it is. We actually also had Bruno Giussani. He's actually the global curator for TED. And it's funny that we come full circle and here I am giving a TED talk. We're also very blessed to have Lombard Odier, the world's first global bank that's certified B Corp, to actually sponsor the whole event. And we had our great trainer, Vice President Al Gore, teach us about sustainability. Many family businesses all came together in Geneva to learn about how they can make the world a better place. The highlight of the event was, of course, Vice President Al Gore teaching all of us about sustainability and how we can put in our efforts to actually fight climate change altogether. 35 different families from all over the world came together to use their family business as a force for good. More recently, in 2019, before the COVID lockdown, I was very blessed to actually meet Eileen Rockefeller herself and her husband, Paul. And of all the charitable work that they do globally, they said climate change is actually the most important cause to fight for. Because what's the point of having human rights or labor laws or diversity if we do not have a planet to call home? So fighting climate change is the most important goal that we all need to focus on. So such is the fabric of life. While it may seem that I have a pretty successful startup focusing on fighting climate change and doing good impact in the world, my background wasn't so smooth. At a young age in primary school, I got an F in my PSLE and I pulled my overall score down to 189. I ended up going to a neighborhood secondary school where I went into the normal stream and it was fine. I made lots of friends. I really opened up my world and I played lots of basketball or joined the boys brigade. The CCAs were super important for me. Unfortunately, my Mandarin didn't improve as much as well. I got F again in my O-levels. I ended up going to overseas to an international boarding school in Sydney, Australia, where I made even more friends and learned about different cultures, different backgrounds, different nationalities. And I think that's something so precious in the international setting. I really appreciated home a lot more as well. I miss my mom's cooking. I miss the comforts of Singapore and how safe it was, how efficient it was. And only being overseas, that made me realize how lucky I was. I then joined SMU as the pioneer batch, as I mentioned earlier, and no regrets. It was such a great experience of my life. The 4 years was all about fun and learning and growing. We had exchange programs to Sweden. I had internships. I had overseas programs. I had business study missions to China, and all the different experiences was so enriching and so powerful. It wasn't just about the grades. The grades were important, but it really wasn't just about the grades. It's about the friendships you built, the CCAs that you did, about the other activities that expose you to grow as a person, not just on your report card. So if anything, this is something that I like to encourage all you students out there, that don't just study hard, play hard as well. Don't just stay in the classroom, get out of the classroom and go for those field trips. When you have a chance to go for an interesting experience, go for it. Go to Geneva, go to India, go out of your comfort zone. As you can see, the slogan of INSEAD is really to be the business school for the world. How can we use our business to do good, to actually help people, to actually help the environment, to help the climate? And that's what I encourage you to do as well. And that's how I started RPRE. I think the highlight of my career must be really here, standing today, talking to you and giving this TEDx Youth Talk. Many of you may be going through something similar, which I did when I was younger, struggling with school, maybe not meeting the grade that I hope to achieve, but always having the intention to actually want to do good, do something for the world, to save the dolphins, to hug a tree, to plant more trees. Don't just stay in the classroom to get your A's. That's important. Don't forget the lesson outside the classroom. It's very tough being a student these days, and you have lots of mental stress. You have lots of competition with your peers around you, the pressure from parents, the pressure from teachers, the pressure from the media and social media. It's tough, but hang in there and know that the grade is not that important. It's about what you do with your life. It's about following your passion, your dreams. Imagine more, play more, dream more, think outside the box. Don't let the classroom confine you. It's great to have all the knowledge and theory, but get out there, fail often, try something. It's okay to fail. If you first don't succeed, it's probably because you didn't fail enough times. I failed many times in my early days, and I hope to fail many more times in future so that I can succeed. If we succeed all the time, we're probably not trying hard enough. It's probably a goal not ambitious enough. Let me conclude today with one of my favorite quotes. We do not inherit the world from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children, from you. Thank you. My name is Robin Poh, and it's been an honor and a privilege.